Well, week 6 of college football is upon us, and we've got a good slate of games this weekend coming up. I'm excited to see this weekend of college football. Now, I won't get to watch as much college football as I would like. I do have a buddy's wedding coming up this Saturday, so I'll have to go to that. People don't have fall weddings. Don't have fall weddings if you don't want anyone to show up. Nonetheless, I'm just joking. Happy to be there for my buddy. But so I won't get to watch as many of these as I like, but I do want to go through them because this is a great weekend of college football, and I think we have some matchups that can start to dwindle down each conference and basically put a front runner. Not guarantee who's going to be there, but kind of give us a better picture of who might win a conference. So let's dive into it. First game I want to get to is number 12 Oklahoma, undefeated number 12 Oklahoma on the road. Well, actually, it's not on the road. It's that neutral site matchup at the Texas State Fair, I think, the Red River rivalry. Oklahoma at Texas. Texas is a 6.5-point favorite. Both of these teams have looked fantastic this year, have looked good. Both have also kind of struggled a little bit. Both quarterbacks for these two teams have looked amazing. Oklahoma's quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, has looked great. I know Texas kind of struggled a little in that Wyoming game, at least until the fourth, but they did pull away. So both of these teams have looked great. And even you can even say for some instances that Oklahoma, if you look at stat-wise and certain statistics, Oklahoma has actually performed better or has the better numbers than Texas does on both sides of the field. But even with that being said, I'm going with Texas to win, and I'm going with Texas to cover. The reason with that being, even though Oklahoma is a really good football team and they have a great quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, I think Texas has the better statement win. They went on the road. We all know they went on the road to Tuscaloosa in Alabama and got a big win against Bama. Now, I understand Bama is not like the best team in the country right now, but that is still a giant win for them, a good win for that football program. And Oklahoma, I mean, here's the teams that Oklahoma has played this year. Now, they won all of them. They are undefeated, but they've played Cincinnati, Iowa State, Tulsa, and SMU. They may have played one more, I'm just not remembering, but those are the teams that they have played. So for eye test, for me, who has proven more has been Texas. That's why I'm going Texas, and I am picking Texas to cover that 6.5 points. Either way, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Can't wait to watch it. Next, number 13, Washington State 4-0 at UCLA, who's 3-1. UCLA is a 3-point favorite. I'm not entirely sure why they are the 3-point favorite. I don't know if it's just a brand thing for UCLA, but I would pick Washington State in this game if I had to. No, I wouldn't bet on this game, and I'm usually not a betting man. I don't make bets. I don't really gamble that much. But if I had to pick, I think I would pick Washington State. I think they are a really good team this year, and I just haven't seen that much from UCLA. Up next is undefeated Maryland on the road at number 4 undefeated Ohio State. Ohio State is a 20-point favorite. Now, look, I would love to get on here Sunday and do a video where I point and laugh at Ohio State losing. I just don't think it's going to be this week. I did say earlier that Maryland, I do think that Maryland has the chance and will beat someone that they shouldn't, beating someone that they have no business even being on the field with. I feel like Maryland kind of tends to do that each year. I just don't think it's going to be this weekend. I would love to see Ohio State lose. I can't stand Ryan Day, and I'm not going to get on that. Oh, there's my dog. You see someone. No barking, Bubba. No one's here. Any noise outside, he loses it. But like I said, I can't stand Ryan Day. I think he's a joke of a coach. I think he's a crybaby. I would love to see him lose to Maryland, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Ohio State wins. I don't know if they cover that 20-point favorite. That is a lot of points, even at home. But I do think they win. I think they beat Maryland. I also am excited to look forward to the next next round of the Ryan Day versus Lou Holtz drama saga that they've got going on. I mean, he's picking on an 86-year-old man. Good stuff, Ryan Day. Either way, I can't wait for that game. Virginia Tech at number 5, undefeated FSU. FSU is a 23.5-point favorite. Now, I want to see how does FSU respond to a game like this after such an emotional win on the road at Clemson, coming off a bye week. So we all know they went down to Clemson. They beat the old Clemson Tigers and Dabo Swinney, who's still stuck in 2015. And they had a bye week. They had a chance to recover. They had a chance to prepare for this game. I think that if FSU wants to be taken seriously for a playoff contender, I think they need to come out and they need to dominate this game. They've had a full week to prepare against a team of Virginia Tech who is not the greatest, who has not looked that good. They have their struggles on both the offense and the defense side of the ball. They are below 500. They're 2-3. They have 3 losses before the first week of October. This is a team that if FSU wants to be taken seriously, they have got to come out. And I think they should come out and cover. I think they win. I don't know if they cover because, like I said, it's just a lot of points to cover. But it's also at home. So everything is stacking up. Expect for FSU to win this game and win big. It's coming off a bye week. It's in Tallahassee and Doak Campbell Stadium, a beautiful stadium, by the way. If you don't know what it looks at, just Google it. Look at the pictures. It looks like a castle. It looks badass. FSU should win, and they should cover that 23.5 points. 4-1 Syracuse on the road at UNC, who is 4-0. UNC should win this game. Syracuse had a tough loss against Clemson. They kept it close with Clemson for a little while, but Clemson did pull away. I think they got an interception turnover, kind of pulled away. But I'm taking UNC to win this game. I think they do. I think they should. If they win this game, they stay undefeated, and they are still in the race for the ACC championship, right there with FSU. I think also right there with Miami as well. So I do think UNC, they are a 8-point favorite. They should cover the spread. I think they get the win. 3-2 Arizona on the road at number 9, undefeated USC. USC is a 21.5-point favorite. Excuse me. USC is going to win this game. I mean, we all know they have Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley. Caleb Williams is a hell of a quarterback. Lincoln Riley does know his shit when it comes to offense. He is a great offensive-minded coach, but that defense, the defense is abysmal. It's a joke. I want to see if they can muster anything on defense. Can they cover this 21.5-point spread? They let Colorado score a lot of points on them. Can they take a team in Arizona who hasn't looked the greatest, who is struggling on both sides of the ball as well? Can they get some stops? Can they have any able-bodied men on that defensive side and get some stops? That's all I want to see. I mean, we know they can score. We know that they can score. They have Caleb Williams. They have Lincoln Riley. We've got all that, USC. We know. We understand. You don't got to keep doing it. Show us that you can get a stop on defense. Show us that you can play a half of a game of good defense. Do that. Because if they don't, I don't think they stand a chance in the playoffs at all. If they can't play any defense, I don't think they even go undefeated. So, but like I said, I am taking USC to win. I just want to see if they can cover and if they can get some stops on defense. That's what I'm really looking for in this game for USC. Georgia Tech 2-3 at number 17, undefeated Miami. Miami is a 21 or 22-point favorite. Can't even read my own handwriting. Miami should win this game. They had that big win against Texas A&M, 48-33. Everything is still available for Miami, including the ACC championship, including the playoffs, if they keep winning games, plain and simple. They have looked really good. They look great against Texas A&M, especially in that second half. This is at home for Miami, but we all truly know it's not actually at home for Miami. Miami still in the year 2023 doesn't have a home campus, a home stadium on campus. Miami fans, how do y'all allow that to happen? I do not understand that. if Georgia, who I'm a Georgia fan, I'm a college football fan, but my favorite team is Georgia. If Georgia Bulldogs did not have a home stadium, I don't know how much I could watch them. Like, with the money and the cash flow that is going through the sport of college football today, the amount of millions of dollars that these campuses, that these programs are making, how do you not have the money to build a stadium? I mean, you got teams out here dropping multi-million dollars on a locker room, and you can't put a stadium in on your own campus. It's 2023. You've had years to do it. I don't know why. I think it's still silly. With the facilities that other campuses have, I'm surprised they don't do worse in recruiting. But either way, I went on a little rant about that. I think Miami wins. Georgia Tech is a horrible team. I think Miami covers at 21-22. Either way, if it's 22, I think they cover it. Georgia Tech is they're a bad team. Arkansas on the road at number 16, Ole Miss. Arkansas is 2-3. Ole Miss is 4-1. Ole Miss is an 11.5-point favorite. I've made my opinions known before. I don't think Lane Kiffin is a good head coach. I think he's a really good troll. I think he's a good internet troll, Twitter troll, now known as X. I don't think he's a good head coach. I think he knows offense well. That's about it when it comes to coaching. He should have beaten Bama. He should have beaten Bama this year. He had the best opportunity he's had in years. Probably the best opportunity he's going to have in years. I don't know. Bama's on the downhill slide, and Nick Saban's looking to step out, I think. But point is, this was a year for Lane Kiffin to prove himself as a head coach, get a solid win under his belt, and be taken seriously, plain and simple. And he didn't. He couldn't do it. And I just don't think he's ever going to do anything as a head coach, in my opinion. He could prove me wrong. He could go on to win 6 national championships. I don't think he ever will. I think he has too much fun trolling. I think he's more worried about trolling people than he is actually coaching his players. He spends too much damn time on the Twitter or X or whatever. Now, it is pretty funny. Don't get me wrong. Some of that is very funny. But I'm taking Arkansas to win this game. With all that being said, I'm taking Arkansas, an 11.5-point underdog on the road to beat Ole Miss. I think that is my underdog pick'em for the week. My upset prediction for the week is Arkansas going on the road, beating Ole Miss. I think Sam Pittman is a really good coach. I think he gets the most out of those guys. I know that they are below 500 and they've had some rough games this year, and they've looked kind of rough on both sides of the ball at different times. But I think Sam Pittman gets them boys fired up. I think he gets them angry, ready to go into a hostile environment, and I think they get a win against the old Lane train. And I think Lane Kiffin shows once again that he is just a troll and not a head coach. My opinion. Moving on. Number 2, undefeated Michigan at Minnesota, who's 3-2. Michigan is a 19-point favorite. The only thing I'd be worried about is that it's not at Michigan. I think Michigan should win this game, and I think they should win it easily. Now, I do want to see, can they get off to a quick start and be consistent throughout the whole game? They have seemed to be plagued by the same bug that has bitten Georgia, where they kind of start off slow and they're not consistent. Or even if they start off slow, they just don't play consistently all the way through on offense. If Michigan does that, if they come out quick and they stay consistent, they should easily win this game, and they should cover that 19-point spread. I'm excited to see this game, see if they can do that. I think they do, though. As long as they start out quick and stay consistent, they easily can cover that. But I would not bet this spread at all. It's just too big of a number for a team being on the road. Coming up, number 10, Notre Dame, 5-1 with a loss to Ohio State at home against undefeated Louisville, who is ranked 25. Notre Dame is a 6.5-point favorite on the road. My thoughts on this game is, can Notre Dame just keep up their momentum? We know they suffered a tough loss against Ohio State at home. And then they went on the road to play a red-hot Duke team who whooped Clemson's ass in the beginning of the year. They got a much-needed win against Duke, a hard-fought win. Can they keep up that momentum and keep going? Because here's the thing, and I said in my recap of the Notre Dame Ohio State game, is that I think Notre Dame isn't fighting for anything this season. I think they're fighting for their status for next season at this point because they're not in a conference. I don't think they have a chance of making a 4-team playoff with one loss, with not being in any conference. They don't play that 13th game. They don't play for the conference championship. I just don't see, unless they go undefeated, I don't see, even with one loss to a good team, I don't see them making a 4-team playoff. Now, this is the last year of the 14 playoff. Next year, we're having 12 teams in the playoffs. I can see them making it then with one loss, heck, maybe even 2 losses. But with them not being in a conference, unless they go undefeated, I don't see it for Notre Dame. I think they are out of the playoffs unless something crazy happens and teams just beat each other up. I don't see Notre Dame making the playoffs, even if they go undefeated. But I could be proven wrong, so that's what I want to see. Does Notre Dame still have that fight in them to keep fighting and beating teams even with a very bad loss? So we'll see. I'm excited for that game. Next really good game I'm very excited for is both of these teams are undefeated. Number 8, Oregon, on the road at number 7, Washington. Oregon is a 3.5-point favorite, I believe. I was trying to look up the spread of this game, and my apps and Google just wasn't telling me. I could not find the spread for whatever reason. So I could be wrong about the spread. It could be greater than 3.5, or it could be 3.5. I don't know. But with what I was able to find, I saw that Oregon was a 3.5-point favorite. Both of these quarterbacks and offenses are looking great. They're both putting up numbers. Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. both look fantastic, are having really good seasons. Bo Nix is looking a lot more consistent this year and last year. Back in the day when Bo Nix used to play at Auburn, he was way too inconsistent. He would have drives where he would look really, really great. He would be on time with his passes. He could put it in pinpoint holes. Leading receivers perfectly, throwing dimes, making good decisions, getting away from the pressure. But then all of a sudden, he would just make a boneheaded mistake, like he's trying to do too much, and he would throw a pick six. And he would tend to do that multiple times in a game. And he would cost his team, in my opinion, a lot at Auburn. Since he moved out west to Oregon, I haven't really seen that too much. He did have a really bad game against Georgia last year, but, Georgia was a hell of a team. He's looked really good. And Michael Penix Jr. has looked solid all season long. Bo Nix numbers for the year, he's passed for a total of 1,459 yards. Michael Penix Jr. has passed for basically 2,000 yards. He's passed for 1,999 yards on the season, right there at 2,000. On average, Oregon offense is averaging about 557 yards per game, where Washington is 569.4 yards per game. So Oregon just averaging a little bit less than Washington is, but they are also allowing a lot fewer yards per game. Oregon is allowing 255.6 yards per game, and Washington is allowing around 365 yards per game. So really good matchup. I think this is going to be a very high scoring but close game. I think it's going to be one of those games that basically come down to the last drive. What team makes the first mistake? What quarterback throws an interception at the wrong time? What team turns over the ball, who comes out of this winning the turnover margin? I think that's what it's going to come down to. So we'll see. I'm excited about this game. I think it's going to be high scoring, lots of points, but I think it's going to be close. Can't wait. Next game, LSU, number 23, who is 3-2 LSU on the road at number 21 Mizzou, who is 5-0. LSU is a 5.5-point favorite. This is an all or nothing game for LSU. They've already got 2 losses. It's the first week of October, and they've already got 2 losses under the belt. One loss coming to Ole Miss, and one loss coming to FSU in the beginning of the year. Now, LSU is still technically in the running for the SEC championship. Now they are out of the playoffs. They've got 2 losses. They're not making the playoffs. But they can still make it to Atlanta and they can still win the West and make it to Atlanta. But they have to win this game. They have to win all their other games from here on out. So this is an all or nothing game for LSU. If LSU loses this game and they go 3-3 in the first week of October, or here we are, the first week of October, I mean, I would seriously start to question Brian Kelly. And I know it's only his second year. He did great things in his first year, but we kind of saw this at Notre Dame. He'd have really good years, and then he would just have just silly losses. He should not lose to Mizzou. And I think that Mizzou is extremely overrated football team. They have not done anything all year long. They just flat out haven't. I had to hear all offseason that Mizzou could be a really good football team, that they could contend for the 2nd or 3rd spot in the SEC West. They could be undefeated playing Georgia. They could give Georgia a run for the money, Tennessee a run for the money. I mean, and you hear it all this season now because they're 5-0, that they're a good team. They haven't done anything. They haven't proved anything. Here's the teams that they have played: South Dakota, Middle Tennessee, Kansas State, Memphis, and Vandy. The best team on that schedule is Kansas State. And I don't even know if Kansas State is ranked. Maybe they are ranked. I don't know. But they only won by 3. Mizzou has not done anything to prove to me this year that they are capable of hanging with the big boys. They gave up 21 points to Vandy, the worst team in the SEC by a mile. They gave up 21 points to. And just to put their numbers in perspective, and I don't like to completely compare these because football is a game of matchups. It's not an exact transitive property. But just to put these numbers in perspective, you compare with the points that they scored and the points that they allowed versus Georgia. Now, yes, Georgia's supposed to be the number 1 team, the best team in the country, but we are all trash-talking Georgia. We've said they've looked miserable on offense to start out. Their defense is nowhere near where it should be this year. Out of those 5 teams that Mizzou has played, South Dakota, Middle Tennessee, Kansas State, Memphis, and Vandy, they have scored 160 points and given up 104 points. They've given up 104 points to those 5 teams. Georgia has scored 193. That's 33 more points than Mizzou. And they basically have allowed half of what Mizzou has at 65 points. So little over half. But you get the point. My point is that Mizzou is an overrated team that hasn't proved anything this season. They haven't played anyone, and they haven't looked that great in those games playing it. I mean, you can't give up 21 points to Vandy. You can't only beat Kansas State by 3. And yes, I think Kansas State should have won that game. I had Kansas State win that game. But the point is they just haven't looked good. And they haven't played anyone. I think Mizzou is going to get embarrassed. I think LSU goes on the road. They beat Missouri. I think this is a statement game for LSU, we are still in this SEC race. I think they beat Mizzou bad. I think they cover that 5.5 point. If this spread was 14 points, I'd still take LSU. Just put it that way. I think LSU wins by 2 scores. So I don't think they're giving up way too many points to shitty teams. Mizzou is, and I just don't think they're a good team. I think they're going to fall right back to the middle of the pack this year. So that's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but that's how I feel. Moving on to the last big game that I want to talk about. That is your number 11 Alabama, who's 4-1 with their 1 loss at Texas, or at home against Texas. They are on the road at 4-1 Texas A&M. Bama is a 1.5 point favorite on the road at Texas A&M. I think that this game could potentially decide the West. Now, I'm not saying who wins this game is going to win the West automatically, but I think it paints a more clear picture at who is going to win the West. Because if Alabama wins, who else is going to beat them? Maybe Tennessee, maybe LSU, maybe Kentucky. I mean, we don't know. I think those teams have a good chance of beating them, but if Texas A&M wins this game, who's going to beat Texas A&M? I don't know. I think Bama's in big trouble in this game. I really do think. Bama's kryptonite weakness for the past several years have been road games against quality teams. You go back the past few years, they've lost at LSU, they've lost at Tennessee, they've lost at Texas A&M, the same place 2 years ago. I mean, they are not a team that plays well on the road the last 2 to 3 years, at least 2 years. So I think Bama's in trouble. I am going to just come out and say that I think Texas A&M wins this game. I think they cover. It's 1.5 points. I think they cover. But now, if they don't, and Bama finds a way to win this game, no matter how much, whether it's by 1 point or 100, if Bama finds a way to win this game, I think this game could be the final nail in the coffin for Jimbo Fisher's coaching career, at least at Texas A&M. He has been there for way too long and has done absolutely nothing. He has not proven himself in any way, shape, or form. They have been a miserable 8-4 team with a talent that is on Texas A&M's roster. There's no excuse to perform the way they have performed and have such few wins that they have. They brought on Bobby Petrino for the offensive coordinator. I do think it is a good hire. So it's got to be for something. You cannot have brought him on, caused all this controversy in the offseason for a hire that it was just pointless. So can they win? And I think they do. I think this is another good win for Jimbo Fisher. But I'm telling you now, if he doesn't, I think this could be the final nail in the coffin for his coaching career, at least at Texas A&M. I think at that point, it's like he's proven that he's not going to be able to get the job done. And it'd best be to pay his ass now and get rid of him. And I think if Alabama loses this game, I think you could seriously start to have some more legitimate concerns about the end of Nick Saban's coaching career at Alabama. Does he want to keep doing this year in and year out? I do. I'm not saying he's going to retire if he loses this game, but I think that question becomes more valid to ask that question if he does lose this game at Texas A&M, because that'd make 2 years in a row, back-to-back years when he's been at Texas A&M, that he gets an L if he loses this game. But with all that being said, that is my preview prediction for the Week 6 college football games. I think it's going to be a fantastic weekend. I cannot wait to watch all these games. I won't get to be able to watch as much, but nonetheless, I can't wait to see the scores, see the stats, see all that good stuff. I did do a Georgia and Kentucky prediction and preview on my last video, so if you want to watch that, check it out. But other than that, over and out.